Yo, what's going on, y'all? And today we're going to continue reading the entire Bible. This is day 5. Yeah, I did. Yeah, day 5. And we're just going to jump straight into it. We're on Genesis 30. On Genesis 30. When Rachel saw that she conceived no children for Jacob, she envied her sister and said to Jacob, "Give me children or else I will die." Okay, hyperbole. Then Jacob became furious with Rachel, and he said, "Am I in the place of God who has denied your children?" She said, "Here, take my maid Bilhah, Bilhah, and go into her, and when the baby comes, she shall deliver it while sitting on my knees, so that by her I may also have children to count as my own." So she gave him Bilhah, her maid, as a secondary wife, and Jacob went into her. Bilhah conceived and gave birth to a son for Jacob. Then Rachel said, "God has judged and vindicated me, and has heard my plea, and has given me a son through my maid." So she named him Dan, he judged. Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again and gave birth to a second son for Jacob. So Rachel said, "With mighty wrestlings and prayer to God, I have struggled with my sister and have prevailed." So she named him Naphtali, my wrestlings. When Leah saw that she had stopped bearing children, she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her to Jacob as a secondary wife. Zilpah, Leah's maid, gave birth to a son for Jacob. Then Leah said, "How fortunate!" She named him Gad, good fortune. Zilpah, Leah's maid, gave birth to a second son for Jacob. Then Leah said, "I am happy, for women will call me happy." So she named him Asher. Asher? Asher. Asher. I don't know. Happy. Now at the time of wheat harvest, Now at the time of wheat harvest, Reuben, the eldest child, went forth and found some mandrakes in the field, and brought them to his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." But Leah answered, "Is it a small thing that you have taken my husband? Would you take away my son's mandrakes also?" So Rachel said, "Jacob shall sleep with you tonight in exchange for your son's mandrakes." When Jacob came in from the field in the evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, "You must sleep with me tonight, for I have in fact hired you with my son's mandrakes." So he slept with her that night. God listened to her. Let me slow down. God listened and answered the prayer of Leah, and she conceived and gave birth to a fifth son for Jacob. Then Leah said, "God has given me my reward because I have given my maid to my husband." So she named him Issachar. Leah conceived again and gave birth to a sixth son for Jacob. Then Leah said, "God has endowed me with a good marriage gift for my husband. Now he will live with me, regarding me with honor as his wife, because I have given birth to six sons." So she named him Zebulun after she gave birth to a daughter, and named her Dinah. Then God remembered the prayers of Rachel, and God thought of her and opened her womb so that she would conceive. So she conceived and gave birth to a son, and she said, "God has taken away my disgrace and humiliation." She named him Joseph, may he add, and said, "May the Lord add to me another son." Jacob prospers. Now, when Rachel had given birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, "Send me away that I may go back to my own place and to my own country. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, and let me go. For you know, for you know the work which I have done for you." But Laban said to him, "If I have found favor in your sight, stay with me, for I have learned from the omens in divination and by experience that the Lord has blessed me because of you." He said, "Name your wages, and I will give it to you." Jacob answered him, "You know how I have served you, and how your possessions, your cattle and sheep and goats, have fared with me. For you had little before I came, and it has increased and multiplied and abundantly. And the Lord has favored you with blessings, wherever I turned. But now, when shall I provide for my own household? Laban asked, What shall I give you? Jacob replied, You shall not give me anything. But if you do this one thing for me, which I now propose, I will again pasture and keep your flock. Let me pass through your entire flock today, removing from it every speckled and spotted sheep and every dark or black one among the lambs, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and those shall be my wages. So my honesty will be evident for me later when you come for an accounting concerning my wages. Every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and dark among the young lambs, if found with me, shall be considered stolen. And Laban said, Good, let it be done as you say. So on that same day, Laban secretly removed the male goats that were streaked and spotted, and the female goats that were speckled and spotted, every one with white on it, and all the dark ones among the sheep, and put them in the care of his sons. And he put a distance of 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob was then left in care of the rest of Laban's flock. I might be saying his name entirely wrong, but it's fine. Then Jacob took branches of fresh poplar and almond and plane trees and peeled. Dude, I'm reading, chill. Your notification gonna go off? Like, or not notification, clock. The clock went off. Anyway, let's keep reading. Then Jacob took branches of fresh poplar and almond and plane trees and peeled white stripes into them, exposing the white in the branches. Then he set the branches which he had peeled in front of the flocks in the watering troughs, where the flocks came to drink, not him, came to drink, and they mated and conceived when they came to drink. So the flocks mated and conceived by the branches, and the flocks gave birth to streaked, speckled, and spotted offspring. Yikes. Jacob separated the lambs, and as he had done with the peeled branches, he made the flocks face toward the streaked, and all the dark or black in the new flock of Laban. And he put his own herds apart. Oh gosh. He put his own herds apart by themselves and did not put them where they could breed with Laban's flock. Furthermore, when the stronger animals of the flocks were breeding, Jacob would place the branches in the sight of the flock and the watering troughs, so that they would mate and conceive among the branches. But when the flock was sickly, he did not put the branches there, so the sicker animals were Laban's and the stronger Jacob's. So Jacob became exceedingly prosperous and had large flocks of sheep and goats, and female and male servants, and camels and donkeys. Jacob leaves secretly for Canaan. Jacob heard that Laban's sons were saying, Jacob has taken away everything that was our father's, and from what belonged to our father he has acquired all this wealth and honor. Jacob noticed a change in the attitude of Laban, and saw that it was not friendly towards him as before. Then the Lord said to Jacob, Return to the land of your fathers and to your people, and I will be with you. So Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to his flock in the field. And he said to them, I see a change in your father's attitude, that he is not friendly towards me as he was before. But the God of my father Isaac has been with me. You know that I have served your father with all my strength. Yet your father has cheated me as often as possible and changed my wages 10 times. But God did not allow him to hurt me. If he said, "The speckle shall be your wages," then the entire flock gave birth to speckled young. And if he said, "The streaked be your shall be your wages," then the entire flock gave birth to streaked young. Thus God has taken away the flocks of your father and given them to me. And it happened at the time when the flock conceived that I looked up and saw in a dream that the rams which mated with the female goats were streaked, speckled, and spotted. And the angel of God said to me in a dream, "Jacob." And I said, "Here I am." He said, "Look up and see all the rams which are mating with the flock, and streaked and speckled and spotted, for I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed the pillar, and where you made a vow to me. Now stand up, leave this land, and return to the land of your birth." Rachel and Leah answered him, "Is there still any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Are we not counted by him as foreigners? For he sold us to you in marriage, and has also entirely used up our purchase price. Surely the riches which God has taken from our father are ours and our children's. Then, whatever God has told you to do, do it." Then Jacob stood and took action, and put his children and his wives on camels. And he drove away all his livestock, and took along all his property which he had acquired, the livestock he had obtained and accumulated in Padam Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. When Laban had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel went inside the house and stole her father's household gods. I might have to look at that term, because I've never seen household gods used ever. Maybe it's referring to like statues, or I don't know. I've never seen that. I might have to actually look at the term for one of these. And Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean Syrian by not telling him that he intended to leave, and he slipped away secretly. So he fled with everything that he had, and got up and crossed the river Euphrates, and set his face towards the hill of Gilead, east of the Jordan River. All right, that was about to get intense. Yeah, man, we're really like getting a whole drama right now. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm sure something very it's gonna be like a Dharma video. Something very shocking happens at the end. Very shocking. Anyway, let's continue. Okay. On the third day after his departure. Sorry, by the way, if it sounds like I'm just like talking and then not saying anything. I'm on my phone. This is probably a bad idea. It is a bad idea, but still, I'm just putting messages. All right, here, look. You heard me put my phone down. There. All right. Anyway, on the third day after his departure, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. So he took his relatives with him and pursued him for 7 days, and they overtook him in the hill country of Gilead. God came to Laban the Aramean in a dream at night, and said to him, "Be careful that you do not speak to Jacob, either good or bad." Then Laban overtook Jacob. Dang, what the heck? Then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent on the hill, and Laban with his relatives camped on the same hill of Gilead. Then Laban said to Jacob, "What do you mean by deceiving me and leaving without my knowledge, and carrying off my daughters as if they were captives of the sword? Why did you run away secretly and deceive me and not tell me, so that otherwise I might have sent you away with joy and with songs, with music on the trombone and lyre? And why did you not allow me to kiss my grandchildren and my daughters goodbye? Now you have done a foolish thing in behaving like this. It is my power to harm you. It is in my power to harm you, but the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, be careful not to speak to Jacob, either good or bad. Now, I suppose you felt you must go because you were homesick for your father's house and family, but why did you steal my household gods? Jacob answered Laban, I secretly left because I was afraid, for I thought you would take your daughters away from me by force. The one with whom you find your gods shall not live in the presence of our relatives. Search my possessions and point out whatever you find that belongs to you and take it. For Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen the idols. I was right when I said idols. Anyway, that was extra, but I was right. Why you got idols in your house though, man? Anyway, so also idols, I'm pretty sure just means statues. Anyway, so Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and the tent of the two maids, but he did not find them. Then he came out of Leah's tent and entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household idols and put them in the camel's saddlebag and sat on them. Oh my gosh, she is sneaky. That's devious. That's actually crazy. Laban searched through all her tent, but did not find them. So Rachel said to her father, do not be displeased, my lord, that I cannot rise before you, for the manner of woman is on me, and I am unwell. For the manner of woman. Let me think. The manner of woman is on me. So I guess she's talking about her period. I guess. I'm just thinking of it like that. But yeah, this is already very sus. Do not be displeased, my lord, that I cannot rise before you. I can't stand up because I'm going through my period. At least that's what I'm interpreting it as. I'm gonna have to read a little bit more into that. He searched further, but did not find the household idols. Then Jacob became angry and argued with Laban, and he said to Laban, what is my fault? What is my sin that you pursued me like this? Although you have searched through all my possessions, what have you found of your household goods? Put it here before my relatives and your relatives, so that they may decide who has done right between the two of us. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ooze? I think I had trouble with that word last episode, but I'm just gonna say ooze. And your female goats have not lost their young, nor have I eaten the rams of your flocks. I did not bring you to torn carcasses of the animals attacked by predators. I personally took the lost. You required of me to take good everything that was stolen, whether it occurred by day or night. This was my situation. By the day the heat had consumed me, and by night the cold, and I could not sleep. Someone just slammed the door. I don't know who. These 20 years I have been in your house. I have served you 14 years for your daughters, and 6 years for my share of your flock, and you have changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the feared one of Isaac had not been with me, most certainly you would have sent me away now, empty-handed. God has seen my affliction and humiliation and the exhaustion, labor of my hands, so he rendered judgment and rebuked you last night. Dang! It might have been just the way that I was reading it, but I read that as a lot of emotion. A lot of emotion was coming out. And Jacob obviously feels cheated. Laban answered Jacob, these women that you have married are my daughters. These children are my grandchildren. These flocks are from my flocks, and all that you see here is mine. But what can I do today to what can I do today to these my daughters or not, their children to whom they have given birth? So come now, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it serve as a witness between you and me. So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a memorial pillar. Jacob said to his relatives, gather stones. And they took stones and made a mound of stones. And they ate a ceremonial meal together. They were there on the mound of stones. Laban called to Jagar Sahadutha, stone monument of testimony in Aramaic, but Jacob called it Galeed. Laban said, this mound of stones is a witness, a reminder of oath taken today between you and me. Therefore, he also called the name of Galeed and Mizpah, watchtower. For Laban said, may the Lord watch between you and me when we are absent from one another. If you should mistreat, humiliate, oppress my daughters, or if you should take other wives besides my daughters, although no one is with us as a witness, see and remember, God is witness between you and me. Laban said to Jacob, look at this mound of stones, and look at this pillar which I have set up between you and me. This mound is a witness, and this pillar is a witness, that I will not pass by this mound to harm you, and that you will not pass by this mound and this pillar to harm me. The God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Nahor, my father, and the God of the image of worship of their father, Terah, an idolater, judge between us. But Jacob swore only by the one true God, the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered a sacrifice to the Lord on the mountain and called his relatives to the meal. And they ate food and spent the night on the mountain. Early in the morning, Laban got up and kissed his grandchildren and his daughters goodbye and pronounced a blessing, asking God's favor on them. Then Laban left and returned home. Now, I was right. That's what it meant by that. That's what it meant by that. Possession of these pagan figurines implied or conferred a right of inheritance. Wait, that's not even what I was talking about. Hold on, wait. I was looking for. Well, I already established I was right, but I just want to see it again. Yep, right here. This is G. All right. Laban was upset because possession of the father's household gods played an important role in inheritance. In the region where Laban lived, a son-in-law who possessed the family gods could appear before a judge and make a claim to the estate of his father-in-law. Since Jacob's possessions of the household gods implied the right to inherit Laban's wealth, one can understand why he followed Jacob to recover the idols. Okay. So they were very important at that time. But they were most definitely statues. But they must have been small if you could sit on them and someone wouldn't be able to see them. We already know who stole it though. It was Rachel. If I remember correctly, it was Rachel. And she acted like she didn't know where they were. So also what she said about the I'm still trying to think, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was just a way of her saying that I'm on my period. But anyway, that's literally yeah. Anyway, Jacob's fear of Esau. Then as Jacob went on his way, the angels of God met him to reassure and protect him. When Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's camp." So he named that place Mahanaim, double camps. Then Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. He commanded them, saying, "This is what to say to my lord Esau. Your servant Jacob says this: I have been living temporarily with Laban, and have stayed there until now. I have oxen, donkeys, flocks, male servants, and female servants, and I have sent this message to tell my Lord so that I may have find grace and kindness in your sight. The messenger returned to Jacob, saying, We went to your brother Esau, and now he's coming to meet you. And there are 400 men with him. I'm going to say that a little bit more seriously. We went to your brother Esau, and now he's coming to meet you. And there are 400 men with him. Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people who were with him in the flocks and herds and camels in 2 camps. And he said, if Esau comes to one of the camps and attacks it, then the other camp which is left will escape, right? Jacob said, Oh God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, the Lord who said to me, Return to your country and to your people, and I will make you prosper. I am unworthy of all the loving kindness and compassion, of all the faithfulness which you have shown to your servant. With only my staff, long ago, I crossed over this Jordan, and now I have become blessed and hold on, am I reading the right thing? I am. Okay. And increased into these 2 groups of people. Save me, please, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, that he will come and attack me. And the mothers with the children. And you, Lord, said, I will certainly make you prosper, and make your descendants as numerous as the sand of the sea, which is too great to be counted. So Jacob spent the night there. Then he selected a present for his brother Esau from the livestock he had acquired: 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 ewes, 20 rams, 30 milking camels with their colts, 40 cows, 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys, and 10 donkey colts. He put them into the care of his servants, every herd by itself, and said to his servants, Go on ahead of me, and put an interval of space between the individual herds. Then he commanded the one in front, saying, When Esau my brother meets you and asks to whom you belong and where you are going, and whose are the animals in front of you, then you shall say, They are your servant Jacob's. They are gifts sent to my lord Esau. And he is also behind us. And so Jacob commanded the second and the third as well. And all that followed him, the herds, saying, This is what you shall say to Esau when you meet him. And you shall say, Look, your servant Jacob is behind us. For he said to himself, I will try and appease him with the gift that is going ahead of me. Then afterward I will see him. Perhaps he will accept and forgive me. Okay, at least Jacob is being honest. Because honestly, they lie a lot. This entire thing, I'm not gonna say book, but more like, we've just seen a lot of lying. And that ruins relationships, obviously. So yeah, at least Jacob is being honest now, and he's not like, oh, he must have died. This is why all his flock and animals are here. All his animals and his money and his clothes. Oh, he got taken away and jumped. At least Jacob didn't do that. And I'm sure Esau will see his honesty and his apology and accept it. So the gift of the herds of livestock went on ahead of him, and he himself spent that night back at the camp. But he got up that same night and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 children. Dang, what the heck? And his 11 children, and waded over the ford of the Jabbok. Then he took them and sent them across the brook, and he also sent across whatever he had. Dang, what? Okay. Jacob wrestles. So Jacob was left alone, and a man came and wrestled with him until daybreak. When the man saw that he had not prevailed against Jacob, he touched his hip joint, and Jacob's hip was dislocated as he wrestled with him. Then he said, "Let me go, for my day is breaking." But Jacob said, "I will not let you go unless you declare a blessing on me." Sounds like he's talking to Jesus. So he asked him, what is your name? And he said, "Jacob." And he said, "Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed." Jesus, you could just say you let him win. Anyway, then Jacob asked him, "Please tell me your name." But he said, "Why is it that you ask my name?" And he declared a blessing of the covenant promise on Jacob there. So Jacob named the place Peniel, the face of God. That was definitely Jesus, saying, "For I have seen God face to face, yet my life has not been snatched away." Now the sun rose on him as he passed Peniel, and he was limping because of his hip. Therefore, to this day, the Israelites do not eat the tendon of the hip, which is the socket of the thigh, because he touched the socket of Jacob's thigh by the tendon of the hip. Okay. Alright. Alright. I feel like it would have been a little problematic if Jesus' name was revealed in this portion anyway. It would have been very problematic, actually, especially having to do with translations and whatnot, or not translate. Yes, actually, yes, translations and whatnot, and the language of which the Old Testament was written in. I might be wrong, but Aramaic was a thing in BC, which is what this was written in, and it might even be earlier than BC. I'm not sure, but Aramaic was a language. I don't think Hebrew was. I meant to check up on it again, but I don't think it was Hebrew. Latin, for sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. Greek, no. Greek wasn't. I don't think Greek was a language at this time. But yeah, I might be wrong about some of those, or most of those, or all of those. But yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Or just tell me to do my own research. Anyway, Jacob meets Esau. Then Jacob looked up and saw Esau coming with 400 men. So he divided the children among Leah and Rachel, and the two maids. He put the maids and their children in front, Leah and her children after them, and Rachel and Joseph last of all. Then Jacob crossed over the stream ahead of them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times, bowing and moving forward each time until he approached his brother. But Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and hugged his neck and kissed him. And they wept for joy. Esau looked up and saw the woman and the children. He said, "Who are these with you?" So Jacob replied, "They are my children whom God has graciously given to your servant." Then the maids approached with their children, and they bowed down. Leah also approached with her children, and they bowed down. Afterward, Joseph and Rachel approached, and they bowed down. Esau asked, "What do you mean by all this company which I have met?" And he answered, "These are to find favor in the sight of my Lord." But Esau, I smacked my brother, my bad. But Esau said, "I have plenty, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself." Jacob replied, "No, no, no, please. If now I have found favor in your sight, then accept my gift as a blessing from my hand. For I see your face as if I had seen the face of God, and you have received me favorably. Please accept my blessing, gift, which has been brought to you. For God has dealt graciously with me, and I have everything that I could possibly want." So Jacob kept urging him, and Esau accepted it. Okay. Then Esau said, let us get started on our journey, and I will go in front of you to lead the way." But Jacob replied, "You know, my lord, that the children are frail and need gentle care, and the nursing flocks and herds with young are of concerning me. For if the men should drive them hard for a single day, all the flocks will die. please let my lord go on ahead of his servant, and I will move on slowly, governed by the pace of the livestock that are in front of me, and according to the endurance of the children, until I come to my lord in Seir in Edom. Sounded like I was about to start rapping for a second. Then Esau said, "Please let me leave with you some of the people who are with me." But Jacob said, "What need is there for it? Let me find favor in the sight of my lord." So Esau turned back toward the south that day on his way to Sire. Sire. But Jacob journeyed north to Succoth and built himself a house and made shelters for his livestock. So the name of the place is Succoth, huts, shelters. Jacob settles in Shechem. When Jacob came from Padanaram, he arrived safely and in peace and in the city of Shechem, in the land of Canaan, and camped in front of the walled city. Then he brought the piece of land on which he had pitched his tents from the sons of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. There he erected an altar and called it El Elohi Israel. El Elohi Israel. I was kind of expecting Elohim, but that says Elohi. What is that? God, the mighty God of Israel. Oh, El Elohi. Okay. The treachery of Jacob's. This bloodline was already wild at the start. There's already enough lying going on. Now it's about to get worse, apparently. At least that's my hypothesis. Now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, whom she had borne to Jacob, went out unescorted to visit the girls of the land. When Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite prince Shech of the land, saw her, he kidnapped her and lay intimately with her by force, humbling and offending her. But his soul longed for a clung to Dinah, daughter of Jacob, and he loved the girl and spoke comfortingly to her young heart's wishes. So Shechem said to his father Hamor, "Get me this young woman as a wife." Now Jacob heard that Shechem had violated Dinah, his daughter, but his sons were in the field with his livestock. So Jacob said nothing until they came in. But Shechem's father Hamor went to Jacob to talk with him. Now when Jacob's sons heard of it, they came in the front of the field. They were deeply grieved, and they were very angry, for Shechem had done a disgraceful thing to Israel by lying with Jacob's daughter, for such a thing is not to be done. But Hamor conferred with them, saying, the soul of my son Shechem deeply longs for your daughter and sister. Please give her to him as his wife, and beyond that, intermarry with us. Give your daughters to us as wives, and take our daughters for yourself. In this way you shall live with us. The country will be open to you. Live and do business in it, and acquire property and possessions in it. Ugh, what the heck? He just raped my daughter. What are you talking about? Shechem also said to Dinah's father and to her brothers, let me find favor in your sight, and I will give you whatever you ask of me. Demand of me a very large bridal payment and gift as compensation for giving up your daughter as his sister, and I will give you whatever you tell me. Only give me the girl to be my wife. Someone has to argue with him. Y'all should not accept this. Jacob's sons answered Shechem and Hamor, his father, deceitfully, because Shechem had defiled and disgraced their sister Dinah. They said to them, we cannot do this thing and give our sister in marriage to one who is not circumcised, because that would be a disgrace to us. But we will consent to you on this condition. If you will become like us, that in every male among you consents to be circumcised, then we will give our daughters to you in marriage, and we will take your daughters for ourselves, and we will live with you and become one people. But if you do not listen to us and refuse to be circumcised, then we will take our daughter, Dinah, and go. Their words seemed reasonable to Hamor and his son Shechem, and the young man did not hesitate to do the required thing, for he was delighted with Jacob's daughter. Now, he was more respected and honored than all the others in the household of his father. Then Hamor and Shechem, his son, came to the gate of their walled city, where the leading men would meet, and spoke with the men of the city, saying, "These men are peaceful and friendly with us. So let them live in the land and do business in it. For the land is large enough for us and for them. Let us take their daughters for wives, and let us give them our daughters in marriage. But only on this condition will the men consent to our request, that they live among us and become one people, that every male among us become circumcised, just as they are circumcised. If not, their cattle and their possessions and all their animals be ours. If we do this, let us consent to do as they ask, and they will live here with us. And every Canaanite man who went out of the city gate listened and considered what Hamor and Shechem said, and every male who was a resident of that city was circumcised. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, they said this deceitfully, so they're lying. This is bad. This is really bad. Like I said, a lot of lying going on. So it's not an apparently, it's a fact. They lied. Well, Anyway, now on the third day after the circumcision, when all the men were terribly sore and in pain, okay, there was a comma right there. Sore and in pain, two of Jacob's sons, Simon and Levi, Dinah's full brothers, took their swords boldly and took their swords boldly entered the city without anyone suspecting them of evil intent, and they killed every male. So I was right, or the Bible was right. They said that deceitfully on purpose. Why? Because why? That wasn't, God didn't tell you to do that. I'm sure people are going to try to use this as a contradiction, but God didn't tell them to do that, first of all. Second of all, I mean, I'd be pretty mad if my sister got raped and I knew who did it, but I wouldn't massacre every dude this guy knows. I have to see who they were again, but look, I just know that they got annihilated. They have been humiliated and destroyed. Anyway, they killed Hamor and his son Shechem with the edge of this. And took Dinah out of. Wait, it's the other way around. It is the other way around. Oh no. They killed Hamor and his son Shechem with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house where she was staying, and left. Then Jacob's other sons came up upon those who were killed and looted the town, because their sister had been never mind. I got it right. Okay, I was reading 26 like it was the entire chapter. My bad. Y'all make mistakes. But yeah, I was right with my thinking. Anyway, yeah. I wouldn't be this mad though. I would never be this mad where I just humiliate and destroy everyone. I would never do that. This is over the top. Then again, they must have been really mad. They took the Canaanites. It doesn't justify it though. They took the Canaanites' flocks and their herds and their donkeys and whatever was in the city and in the field. They looted all their wealth and took captive all their children and wives, even everything that was in the houses. Then Jacob said to Simon and Levi, "You have ruined me, making a stench to the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites and the Perizzites, making hold on, making me a stench to the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites and the Perizzites. My men are few in numbers, and the men of the land will band together against me and attack me. I shall be destroyed, I and my household. But they said, should he be permitted to treat our sister as a prostitute? Jacob moves to Bethel. Then God said to Jacob, go up to Bethel and live there, and make an altar there to God, who appeared to you in a distinct manifestation when you led years ago. From Esau your brother. Then Jacob said to his household and to all who were with him, get rid of the idols and images of foreign gods that are among you, and ceremonially. I was over here saying ceremonially purify yourselves and change into fresh clothes. Then let us get up and go to Bethel, and I will make an altar there to God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and has been with me wherever I have gone. So they gave Jacob all the idols and images of the foreign gods they had at the ring and the rings which were in their ears, worn as charms against evil. And Jacob buried them under the oak tree near Shechem. You should have just burned them. Then again, they're probably made of metal, but still. Oop. As they journeyed, there was a great supernatural terror sent from God on the cities around them. And for that reason, the Canaanites did not pursue the sons of Jacob. So Jacob came to Luz, that is Bethel, which is in the land of Canaan, he and all the people who were with him. There he built an altar to worship the Lord and called the place El Bethel, God of the house of God, because there God had revealed himself to him when he escaped from his brother. Now Deborah, who once was Rebekah's nurse, died and was buried below Bethel under the oak. And in the name of it was called Elon Bakuth, Oak of Weeping. Jacob is named Israel. Then an invisible manifestation appeared to Jacob again when he came out of Padamaram and declared a blessing on him. Again God said to him, your name is Jacob. You shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel shall be your name. So when he was called Israel, and God said to him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and company of your nations shall come from you, and kings shall be born of your loins. Oh, loin. Okay. Kings shall be born of your loins, your genital. Okay. Very descriptive. The land which I have gave Abraham and Isaac I will give to you, and your descendants after you I will give the land. Then ascended from Jacob in the place where he had spoken with him. Jacob set up a pillar memorial monument in the place where he had talked with God, a pillar of stone, and he poured a drink offering of wine on it. He also poured oil on it to declare it sacred for God's purposes. So Jacob named the place where he had spoken with him Bethel, the house of God. Then they journeyed from Bethel, and where there was still some distance to go to Ephrath, Bethlehem. Rachel began to give birth and had difficulty and suffered severely. When she was in hard labor, the midwife said to her, do not be afraid, you do not have another son. And as her soul was departing, for she died, she named him Benoni, son of my sorrow. But his father called him Benjamin, son of the right hand. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. She died on that lie. I don't know whether she ever revealed she, I guess she did, in a sense. Jacob set a pillar memorial monument on her grave, that is, the pillar of Rachel's grave to this day. Then Israel, Jacob, journeyed on and pitched his tent on the other side of the town of Eder, the lookout point used by shepherds. While Israel was living in that land, Reuben, his eldest son, went and lay with Bilhah, his father, concubine, and Israel heard about it. Wait, what? While Israel was living in that land, Reuben, his eldest son, went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel heard about it. The sons of Israel. Now Jacob had 12 sons, the sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, then Simon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. And the sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin, and the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's maid, Dan and Naphtali, and the sons of Zilpah, Leah's maid, Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob born to him in Padan Aram. Jacob came to Isaac, his father, at Mamre. Isaac is still alive? At Mamre of Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had lived temporarily. Now, the days of Isaac were 180 years. Isaac's spirit departed, and he died and was gathered to his people who had preceded him in death. An old man full of his days, satisfied and fulfilled, his sons Esau and Jacob buried him in the cave of Machpelah with his parents Abraham and Sarah. So that was very interesting. I guess, it was good.